If you're a beginner learning how to play piano, you need to know what to practice and how long to practice. Well, your boy, your piano teacher Tim here, has you covered once again, because today I'm going to be showing you just that, the piano practice routine for beginners. Let's hit it. The first question I'm going to answer right off the bat is, how long should you be practicing? Keep in mind that this lesson is for beginners. If you want an intermediate or advanced lesson, let me know in the comments. But for a beginner, you should ideally be spending at least 30 minutes a day or more practicing. Now, if you're a young kid, maybe your attention span's only 15 minutes, or depending on, what you got going on, maybe 15 minutes is all you can do. That's fine, but you want to ideally shoot for that 30 minutes and above, really, because that's how much time you need to fit in the rudimentary things you need to be learning. So 30 minutes is what you should shoot for as a beginner. And that's like within, maybe you're just starting to the first few months. Like, it really depends on each person. But eventually you want to move up to an hour a day, but you want to start out at half an hour. Now, let me break down what you're actually going to be working on. Okay, the first thing you should obviously be doing when you sit down to practice, just some rudimentary things, is like adjust your bench, make sure you're sitting up straight, make sure you are an appropriate distance away from the keyboard. Believe it or not, this should actually be part of your practice routine, because if you are crooked to the side or anything like that, that's going to mess up the rest of your practice. So into the real practice segment after you do that, the first thing you should really be doing is your warm-up. What should you be working on as a warm-up? Well, let me show you. So the main three things you should be focusing on, well, when you first learn piano, you should be learning like notes and things like that. So you might want to spend like a few minutes just practicing, like reading notes on the staff, things like that. But after you get the hang of that and basic rhythm and things like that, you want to start out learning your scales. Now, you want to start out with the easiest scale, learning the scale, to basically the harder ones. So this is how you do it. First, you want to learn the key of C, because that scale has 0 sharps, 0 flats. Pretty easy. You want to learn it maybe the right hand, then the left hand, and then maybe after a few days even, learn it hands together very slow. So you're probably going to be spending the first few weeks of this practice routine learning your scales. So then the next scale you want to learn is the one with 1 sharp. That's going to be G major. And I'm just going to go around these really quick. So C, G. Next one you want to learn is D. And then A with 3 sharps, and then E with 4 sharps, and then B with 5 sharps, F sharp with 6, C sharp with 7, and then you want to go through and learn your flat scales. I'm not going to play all these, but after you learn from 1 sharp, 0 sharps, 0 flats to 7 sharps, you then want to go and learn the scale with 1 flat, which is F. Then after that is B flat with 2 flats, E flat with 3 flats, A flat with 4 flats, D flat with 5 flats, G flat with 6 flats, and C flat with 7 flats. So you want to learn them from 0 to 7 sharps, 0 to 7 flats. Now, like I said, if you're just starting out, you're probably going to be spending 5 minutes just learning the new scale you're going to be doing. And ideally you're going to do that for the first few weeks until you've learned them all. But say you've been working on these for a few weeks and you're ready to really just make a routine out of these. Maybe fit as many of these scales in here as you can in 5 to 10 minutes. So here you go. Once you get good at them though, you can actually fly through them really fast. Of course, if you make a mistake, you should go back and fix it. But as you can see in the beginning, it takes so much time to just do one scale, but eventually you'll get better and better, and you'll be able to cram all the scales in into like 5 minutes or so. What you want to do, you want to be practicing after you learn something on piano, you want to basically continue to practice that for a very, very long time until you know it, like the saying is, like the back of your hand. Okay, next up, what I recommend you do as a warm-up are arpeggios. So you might know that about block chords, triads, 3-note chords played all at the same time. An arpeggio is when you play that same chord, just notes separately. And I would learn these actually in the same order you learn your scales. So you would learn C major first, arpeggio. I always like to go up at least 2 octaves with these, just meaning like you'll play C, E, G, and then you'll go up to play C, E, G again, and then back down like that. And then, once you learn C, you should learn G next. Like I said, the same order you've learned them for the scales, and you should be good. Same thing with these. You're going to be learning these on their own at first, but eventually once you get so good, you can move on right from one to the next one, and then they actually become kind of fun to play. Just like that. And then you want to be also learning about general, like the chords behind all of this stuff. I'm going to point you to a useful resource on how you can get all of these things in the same place so you can practice them very easily. Okay, on Amazon, or pretty much not any website, but a lot of book websites, you can pick up the complete book of scales, arpeggios, and cadences. These include major scales, minor scales, all the ones you need. Chromatic scales, I didn't really talk about those today, but as you can see in this title, it says chords, arpeggios, and all cadences is like a common chord pattern. So you probably want to practice those as well. But this book will outline pretty much all the things you should be working on for your warm-up. Okay, so the first 5 to 10 minutes of your practice should be the warm-up. What should come after that? Well, it's the most important skill you can practice on the piano at all, and that is, of course, sight reading. Okay, the general point of sight reading is to be reading a piece of music for sight, or from sight. How about that? Right? Just as the name implies. But basically what you're going to be doing is looking for a sheet of music, a passage of music, something that you can play that you've never read before, that's slightly below your current playing level. So whatever you're working on as a piece, which we'll talk about in a minute, your sight reading should be easier than that. So if you're just in the beginning stages of learning, and you're learning maybe some, I don't know, like maybe the first page of the Fur Elise, which isn't too bad, well, your sight reading should be easier than that. So maybe you should be sight reading like Jingle Bells or nursery rhymes or something like that. Because the whole deal and the whole goal is to get from the beginning of the example to the end of the example with as few mistakes as possible. Basically what you want to do is read through the example once as a genuine sight read, and then read through it again, correcting as many mistakes as you can. Okay, a great sight reading resource I recommend you check out, especially if you're a beginner, is the Sight Reading Factory. Now, there is a paid membership, but there is a free one as well. It's a little limited, but you can certainly get a lot out of it. So you want to obviously click on piano, because we're not doing voice today, or violin. And here are the levels. If you're beginning, you probably want to do levels, this first one here, 1/2, I guess. And then pick a time signature. You might even want to pick a random one. But pick any of the time signatures that you actually know how to play. So 4/4. Oh, this is where it gets... Oh, no. Actually, no, you can pick any of them, which is great. And then pick a key. If you're in the beginning stages, pick the key of C. Free play. And, it gives you a sight reading example to play through. So... chances are this probably looks easy to you, but if you've just started playing piano, it might actually look difficult. And in which case, you might just want to keep working on scales, the really rudimentary things, reading music for a while before you tackle this. But let's take a look here. So the sight reading example is a little easy, but that doesn't really matter, because the idea is to play through something fresh that you've never seen before. You think about, like, if you're learning a language or something like that, and you're learning it, right? And you're reading through like maybe some common like literature in that language, and you read through the same page of literature over and over. You're going to get really good at reading that one page. However, that kind of shoots you in the foot because you're not reading anything new, which you would if you actually knew the language. You'd be reading new stuff all the time. So this is kind of the similar idea to that, where you're really training your brain better because you're looking at new patterns and kind of taking the information you already know and applying it to something new rather than relying on your memory. So really, once you play a piece, it depends on the complexity, but after you've been playing it for a few weeks, you have parts of that piece memorized. So you're not really using your eyes and you're not really using your brain to figure it out. I mean, you are in a sense, but you're more relying on the memory, which is, it can be a good thing, but for now, it's a bad thing. So get sight reading. And you should be spending roughly 5 to 10 minutes on sight reading each time you practice. Just make sure you get to it. Seriously, even if you spend 1 minute on it, it's so much better than skipping it every time. So we got warm-ups, 5 to 10. We got sight reading, another 5 to 10. So we have about 10 minutes remaining. You can go over that half-hour mark if you want. I won't stop you. But let's get into what your hypothetical last 10 minutes will be. So we're learning piano, right? So what should you be practicing? Let's see. We did warm-up. We did the sight reading. Oh, hey, how about piano pieces? So you should ideally be practicing, I would say, especially as a beginner, maybe 2 pieces at a time. One that's like an easier, fun piece, and one that's more of a challenging piece that's going to teach you something brand new. So just kind of taking a look at this example here, this minuet. So if I was sight reading like at the level I just showed you with the sight reading factory, I'm probably, the music I'm actually working on is probably going to look more like this, where it's not like impossibly hard, but as you can see, it's definitely a level above what that sight reading was. And I can tell right away because it's in a different key signature. There's more going on between each hand. So you want to be working on 1 to 2, like I mentioned, and that should take up at least 10 minutes of your practice. That might seem short to you. You might be like, if I'm learning piano, how come I'm not playing piano pieces the whole time? Well, as you get better and better, and you get through a lot of this rudimentary stuff, you will be spending more and more time on your pieces. But in the beginning, you got to keep in mind that like learning this rudimentary stuff is what's going to give you the stairs to climb, or the ladder to climb to be able to play more difficult pieces. So if you're just learning pieces all the time, don't get me wrong, it's not like a waste of time, but there's going to be gaps in your knowledge to where once you start to get to more difficult pieces and you haven't been sight reading, like I didn't sight read for the first like 20 years of my life because I didn't even really know about it. But if say you don't practice sight reading, well, that's going to catch up to you at some point. It's going to catch up big time because you're going to be learning something more difficult, and it's just going to take you an annoying amount of time. Whereas if you spent 10 minutes sight reading, you'd be able to blow through it a lot faster. So at least 10 minutes on pieces if you're in that half-hour range. However, maybe you want to go for 20. You know, maybe you want to hit 40 minutes of total practice time. You know, 20 on between the warm-ups and the sight reading. So 10 and 10 maybe on each, and then 20 on your pieces. I think that probably would work pretty good if you are just starting out. And then a couple of tips I have for you when you're learning your pieces. So always start from the new stuff. Also, you also want to be like starring along as you go along. So the problem areas. So say I always make a mistake, like second line here, third measure over. Always make a mistake there. Although I played it right that time. I would actually star that, and then after that, start from the beginning. You do want to start from the beginning every once in a while, because it kind of helps tie everything you've done together so far. If you want to learn more about all things piano, make sure you check out this playlist right here, because it's going to give you more of the tools you need to become successful. Make sure you're subscribed. You have all notifications turned on by hitting that bell, because we have new lessons coming out all the time, and you don't want to miss a beat. It's been your piano teacher, Tim, here. Thanks for coming by today, and I'll see you, yes you, in the next lesson.